Are you the kind of person who thinks twice before lending your possessions to other people? Well, if you are, then you're in good company. Today we'll be sharing stories from our past, playing some games, and maybe even performing a live sketch or two. Let's get a great discount on a movie ticket and then mindlessly pay $16 for a medium popcorn and drink. Grab your knitting needles and a blanket because it's time for three old friends to sit around and sew a new patch to their quilt of friendship. So join me, Dion, under the covers with Christian.
Welcome to Patchwork.
And Josh.
Welcome to Patchwork. Now, guys, before we get started, when we came here today to record, I brought along a packet of Pringles. Delicious treat. And the reason I bought the packet of Pringles was it was for a competition and I needed to buy a second packet to enter the competition. And only did I discover upon reading more closely that the competition expired about 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
I find it amazing that they're still allowed to sell the Pringles.
Good point. I don't think they should be able to sell them. Or there should be some branding on it that says discontinued.
It's pretty, like, the date's not that hidden. Like, I could have looked closer, but I saw, giving away a PlayStation every day. And I was like, great, I'll buy another packet of Pringles.
Josh, did you honestly think you were in with a chance to win the PlayStation?
Yes.
Why?
Because I've won a 25-word or less competition before.
Really?
Not one.
Me too.
I've followed.
What?
I've come a
me
runner-up.
too.
What did you win?
I won. Have I told this before?
No, what's the secret?
Oh, so I won a 25 words or less competition, and it was to win a compost bin at school.
I think you may have said this before.
Yeah. So that's one of the only things I've won. Josh, what did you win?
I was a Guitar Hero competition. And it was like back in early days of internet. And yeah, it was just a thing. And so I won all these like heavy metal CDs that I did not care about.
Game of skill or game of chance?
It was skill because it was like you had to write an interesting 25 words or less. But the thing is with this one, I was like, yeah, I could probably do that. I could probably rustle something up. But the fact that it was already expired, now I've been cheaped out of winning this thing.
Were the Pringles less enjoyable?
I only found out towards the end of the packet, but I was more annoyed because I was like, I wouldn't have bought these otherwise.
Yeah.
So they got me hook,
Yeah.
line, and sinker with their competition.
Well, there you go. That's their strategy. They're doing it on purpose. Fuck you, Pringles. Fuck you. Christian, have you ever won a competition aside from your Pets for Life win?
No, because I don't enter competitions. Because I remember when I was
too good for competitions, are we, Christian?
Yeah, a little bit.
He doesn't want anyone else to lose. He's like, guys, I'll give you a chance.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
No, I remember working at a liquor store when I was 18, and we'd have giveaways. You know, those big. It'd be like, win this big VB esky with a da-da-da, win this inflatable. But the moment that the prize would come in, all the staff would just go, "Who wants it?"
That is bizarre.
The competition would run for a few months, and then the winner would be announced.
Do you reckon, who judges those?
We do.
No. Like officially, you know, when you submit them properly, like a full competition like this, like an international one.
I would think that whoever judges it, there's a 3-person government panel that's looking on. That was
like Lotto.
Like
right?
Lotto.
But
That was such a strange thing.
I told you that. My dad was one of the adjudicators for Lotto.
Unbelievable.
So funny.
Yep. And so we've got all these. We used to at night lie in front of the TV for that 5-minute, and now it's time for the Lotto. And the accountants for tonight are from PwC. And then boom, there. One of them was my dad.
So it was to make sure that it was done properly.
Yeah, I imagine so. Yeah, that it's all above board.
How the hell would they know that?
Yeah.
From seeing the balls drop.
Yeah. Like, because I remember I always used to watch it and I was like, hang on, there's a moment where it passes behind a thing that you can have any ball going through
you
there.
think camera trickery?
Could be. So they're literally eyeballing it from across the room going, yeah, it seems fine. They're doing the right thing.
Could I ask you, Dion? So Dion last week, right before we recorded, decided impulsively to purchase for the three of us a lotto ticket in for a $40 million
jackpot.
Pool. But it was in your name, right?
Yes, it was in my name. Yep. I mean, I just had to do it at the time. And if we would have won, Christian, we would have had that discussion about what that would have looked like.
My mum's, one of her friends had that thing where she's bought the scratchie for a friend and the friend has won like 10 grand on it.
Wow.
And it's like, do you owe that person anything?
Yeah, I think you do. I think you've got to give them something back. 100%.
Really? 100%?
Yeah, you've got to give them back something. I wouldn't have been in this position but for the ticket that you gave me.
But it was a gift. That was the gift.
Yes, I understand it's a gift, but you're recognizing that it was. So that was just the gift. It was like, here's your birthday, here's a lotto ticket.
Well, or is it, here's potentially, hey, here's $10,000 from me to you. That's my gift.
What?
What?
Because you're giving the scratchy ticket. That's the upward winnings, right? That you're happy to offer that opportunity to your friend as a gift.
So you owe them $10,000 now?
We don't owe them it, but it's like if they win that was the gift you gave them.
$10,000?
Yeah.
So does that mean you have to spend $10,000 back when it's their birthday?
Let me ask a question, Josh, very directly. If I just want to work out how big of an asshole you are. If I give you a scratchy for your birthday and you win $10,000, am I getting anything or not?
If I won 10,000, I feel like 500. I might give you 500 back.
That's all right.
500?
I think that's really generous.
Or maybe just 250, the cost of the ticket.
That's an expensive ticket.
That's great. That'd be great, that conversation you're having. Now, Dion, I know that you put a bit of money on this, and I understand, so here's your money back.
I didn't want you to be out.
Josh, I think you were saying this the other day. You said that you wouldn't give someone like a friend money. You'd invite them to an experience or something. It'd be experiential.
Yes,
experiential.
great. Sure.
It's a great word, isn't it? It's another word that Josh has made up that I'm using.
Yeah, I think that rather than just giving, if I ever won big, rather than giving cash to friends, I would go, hey, let's all go on a big trip together or something, my shout. And so you kind of avoid that thing of people just asking you for money because I think that would get super awkward.
But it would get super awkward, but also you would hate for the dynamic of your friendships to change given that you have money. And I'm sure celebrities experience that as well. We know we have... our friends. No, but like,
isn't that why a lot of celebrities hang out with each other? Because you're in the same world and you understand that thing.
That's an interesting point.
Having that massive imbalance. So if there ends up being this massive wealth imbalance all of a sudden with your existing friends, is that going to cause fractures?
I don't know. I think that celebrities hang out with each other. Like, I think that's a vanity thing.
Yeah.
What do you
I
think,
agree.
Christian? Like, I don't think it's like to do with that at all.
I think we're only exposed to the celebrities who hang out with each other through the media because they put themselves in that position.
I find that really weird when someone on Instagram who's really famous will tag their friend that's got heaps and heaps of like who gives a shit? I really like those people that tag their friend that has 200 friends and it's kind of like, yeah, but why are you tagging them then? What's the point?
Isn't it great? I always like those stories where an Instagram celebrity will bring a friend in who's kind of nobody, and then that friend becomes a part of the production of their life and is integral to the business, and then that person independently becomes famous, like Oprah's best friend.
Gail.
Yeah.
Gail. What's her last name? Gail King? Gail Force Wind?
I was at a friend's place the other day and we were talking about books that each of us had recently read. I mentioned that I hadn't, but he mentioned that he had
read a book recently.
Yeah, hadn't read a book
Can
recently.
I guess that the book that he read was Sapiens?
No, it was close. It was
Okay.
very close. It was Homo Deus.
Of course. It's
No,
the
no.
only two books that anyone says, have you read this?
But anyway, he was talking really glowingly about it, and I don't tend to do a lot of reading. It's not something I'm proud of. It's something that I'd love to do more and more of. I know how enriching it is.
I'm exactly the same.
Yeah, I like it's something I'm almost guilty about. But I was like,
You're guilty.
almost.
We find the defendant almost guilty.
But yeah, so he was telling me about this book, and I was thinking, wow, maybe this will be the first book that I've read in a really, really long time. It sounds awesome. Had a look at the book. He had it there. I was like, can you go get it? He brought it out. And even the text was big. And I was like, oh, this might...
So approachable.
This might suit
And
me.
then I opened it, had a pull tab, this little thing jumped out. I was like, this is the book for me.
And then I scratched it. It smelled incredible. Anyway, and I said to him, do you mind if I borrow it? I would actually love to borrow it. I reckon I'll read this book. And he was like, nah. No. And I was like, what? I was like, are you still reading? He's like, nah, I don't. I just don't lend books out to people.
Whoa.
And I was like, what are you talking about? People would get so much joy from lending out a book like that and someone else reading it. He said that the reason why he doesn't lend books is because he's lent out so many books to people and hasn't got them back. I was like, that's your problem, mate. You work out your systems, work out the people that you're going to lend them to, and get the books back in good time.
So the burden is on him to chase up his lent out book.
No, the burden is on him to lend it out to people that are going to return the book. He's made that mistake in the past. Don't make that mistake in the future. Spread the wealth.
So my issue with lending out a book is that everyone has very different ways that they consume books, and a lot of people do the little the rabbit ears at the top. They fold it inwards. A lot of people fold the book back on itself to read it.
People have to stop being precious about books.
No, you can't wreck someone else's
You
book.
can't. Okay, you can't.
Here
wreck
we go.
someone else's
That's why
book.
he didn't give it to
No,
you.
no, that's fine. But have this discussion. He should have a checklist in front of him, which is like, I want this returned in 4 weeks. You sign a stat deck.
Go to adjust as the piece.
honestly,
I will return this book in 4 weeks.
honestly, Dion, Josh and I walked up to your car
Oh,
earlier
no.
today, and there was
There was a fold in the windscreen.
there was a dead moth.
Yeah.
In the
Okay.
wait a second, in the windshield, and not only did you not defend it, you knew about it. You're like, how beautiful is it?
It was indefensible. That's how it died.
So, wouldn't anyone be afraid to give you a book and expect to get it back with all the pages?
Excuse me, not a dead moth. It was a dead butterfly. I knew it was. I knew it was there, and it looks beautiful as well. It's preserved. It looks like it's it's pretty much a natural history museum in my car. There's a lot of stuff that's been there for a while.
It's like a pin through it.
How good would that be? People just filing through my car. There's a pin through it.
They have to scooch through.
Keep the light scooching, guys. Come on. Keep going.
I didn't see the butterfly. Get out. The car's a mess.
But the book, I think it's reasonable for his reason is the fact that I've lent out heaps. I haven't got them back because in my history of giving out things, mainly video games, anytime there's been a video game lent to someone, it's so rare it comes back.
Yeah.
And I think
Really?
I think one of the key things to do is you don't do a one-way swap. You do a two-way swap.
That is
that's
genius.
very
So
clever.
if I'm giving something to you, you're giving something to me, and then we both have a vested interest in returning those things.
Or what about if you lend a book out and then you put a hold on that person's account? I think that could work.
That's a bit weird.
Of course it's weird. It's a comedy podcast.
I think that life cycle has to factor into it because with a game, there's no end date of getting it back. It's however fast you progress through this game, you may want to play it twice. With a book, it's
interesting.
quite difficult as well. It's like, I don't know how fast you read. I don't know when you plan to read it. But with like an item of clothing, it's like, hey, I've got this event that I'd love to borrow it for. Once that event's done, you can be straight on and be like, hey, can I get the jacket back?
Have you ever borrowed an item of clothing from someone?
Oh, no. That is something that I
Yeah.
will not touch.
Oh, really?
No
just
way.
because the
No,
well,
because if I stretch it, it's not going back.
yeah,
no,
true.
but you try it on first.
No,
right?
no.
You wouldn't bother.
I don't. Yeah, I know. No, I just don't want to stretch items of clothing. I don't want, because everyone's body's different. And then if you get it back, like it's when someone wears your shoes and then you put your feet in there and you're like, fuck, like
It never works, does
like
it?
the divots are a little bit different now.
Yeah, it's just always that thing. You know, have you ever been in that situation where you need to go for a run or you need something and you're like, oh, I need to borrow a pair of shoes. Oh, you're the same size as me, aren't you? You try them on. It just never works.
No.
You can't borrow other people's shoes.
I think
No.
I think maybe it's a, I don't know if it's just us, but like I don't feel males really exchange clothes or anything like that. But I feel
Yeah.
it's really common amongst women. They go, oh, that's a great looking dress. Can I borrow that? But I've never thought, hey, Christian, that's a great looking top. I'd love to borrow it one.
Do you want to hear something amazing that I didn't know existed? Josh, I was sitting with a mutual friend of ours, Jules, and she was telling me that she did a clothes swap with some of her friends. They got together, brought all of this
Brilliant.
clothes.
You didn't know about
all
clothes
of these
swaps?
all the
Yeah.
clothes that we don't wear.
Beautiful
And then they're like, oh, I would probably wear that. Let's just swap.
That's so great. I love
Isn't
that
it?
idea. It's just making the world a better place. You don't have to go out and buy new clothes. Clothes swap.
We'll do a patchwork clothes swap.
Imagine that.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Us three or with everyone?
With everyone.
With everyone. Hey guys, all bring your old clothes, and we'll see which ones Christian can fit into. Hey guys, so I was on Instagram earlier, and I got to the end of my feed, and I kept scrolling, went right down to the bottom, and I got all the way to Julius Caesar, and his handle was @TheRealCaesarSalad. And there was a picture of a new freshly pressed toga laid out on a bed. That was the image. And the caption said, "Can't wait to show off my new outfit in the Senate today. Have been so careful to not get any wine stains on it. Hoping to finally catch Brutus's eye. Hashtag say yes to the toga. Hashtag et cute brute."
That's amazing, Josh. I was doing something very similar. I was scrolling through my Instagram, scrolling. I got all the way down. I found a picture posted by Mother Teresa at Mama Calcutta. And it's a picture of a spilled glass of wine on her dinner table. The tablecloth is absolutely ruined. And the comment is, oh, so annoying. Now what am I going to wear?
So yes, I was doing the same. I was on Instagram. I was scrolling. I think you get the gist of the gist of the segment. And I came across a photo of a pyramid-shaped structure. And the handle was "Slave for Cairo," and the caption read, "My hands are killing me. No idea why we're building these things. It definitely isn't great. And in any event, it absolutely sphinx." Hashtag make Egypt great again.
I was out with some friends the other week and we're sort of out at the pub and finished up, and then we're all heading home and I was just going to get an Uber or whatever. One of my friends who was driving was like, "Oh, I'm going that way. I'll give you a lift." I was like, "Great, cool." So I'm in the car, got home, dropped me off. Great, beautiful. And then I was starting to think, do I owe them anything for them giving me that lift? Especially because it was all on the way, right? And it's always like, "Oh, I'm going that direction. It's okay." And I thought, well, it would be a very different story if it's out of their way.
Yes.
And how far is out of the way?
Well, some people, when they offer a lift and you say, "Well, that's out of your way," they're adamant. They're like, "Don't worry about it. I'm happy to drive you there."
It's beautiful. It's the ultimate really good.
Yeah.
It's amazing when people are so generous.
Yeah, and I think in that instance, Josh, you probably don't owe them anything. If they're adamant about it and they say, "I'm happy to bring you there," then it's, "Yep, okay, I'll gladly." You accepting the lift is gift enough.
I guess it's for them to offer as well.
Yes.
It's not for me to go, "Hang on, but you live that direction, don't you, Dion? You're kind of going that way."
But what about if the person doesn't turn their mind to it and they wouldn't mind a bit of a prompt?
Oh, I don't think you can prompt the lift.
Really?
It's got to be up to the driver.
So Josh, when we go
Really?
and prep at Christian's place, and you've usually come straight from work by tram, but I'm in my car, you wait for me to ask you if you would like a lift home.
Yes, I do. Because I think that it's not up to me to go, "Hey,
Yeah.
Dion, you drove here. Can you give me a lift as well, thanks?"
But then you're testing the person's thoughtfulness.
But that's fine. I don't mind.
Luckily, I pass with flying colours every time.
But I'm completely fine with that. Like, I think if you really want to, you can maybe massage the conversation to remind them where you live.
How would you do that, Josh?
Geez, I'm very tired and, gotta head up to Brunswick. Brunswick Way, that way. That direction.
I always like to pull the phone out and start looking at options for public transport.
Oh, great.
And be like,
that's good.
35 minutes if I get, okay. And then hopefully someone will be like, "Oh, no, don't worry, I'll give you a lift."
How far out of your way are you prepared to drive?
I'm pretty sure. I think I'm comfortable with up to, I guess, a 5-minute one-way diversion. So 10 minutes total.
That's it?
That's not much.
10
not much.
minutes out of your way.
For a good friend.
That's a lot.
Christian, what do you
10
reckon?
minutes
10
riding in
minutes
a car.
out, would you go more than that?
If it's a good friend.
Wait,
and-
but that means 10 minutes. That means 10 minutes one way and the other. So
No,
20 minutes
no.
in total.
No.
Oh, that is stingy as hell.
Yeah.
You got to
Really?
be because you're in a position. If you've got a car, you're in such a privileged position that night. You should be willing to go out of your way.
But a lot of the time, I've chosen to drive potentially because I'm not feeling up for it.
Yep.
I just want to have a quick night. I want to duck in. I want to duck out.
Yeah.
It's not my responsibility to get you home.
no, but I think in that case, fair point. I think in that case, you should say, "Sorry, I actually have to get home straight away," rather than put limitations on the lift.
What I'll often do though is I'll go the lift to the nearest station, or I'll give you to this intersection, that kind of thing.
What do you
That's
think-
no good.
What do you think of the lift to the station?
I think that is disgusting.
No, it's not, because it's
Yes, it
sometimes
is.
reasonable in circumstances. When it's 20 minutes out, you're not going to give him a lift home. I bet you drive to fucking Sydney to...
and I just dropped them to the airport.
Just for those who are listening, Dion's accusation came with quite a firm point at me as well. I think it's contextual on the state of the person. If they're really, really drunk, or I think you'll go out of your way that little bit further.
If it's about looking after a friend, I'm more than happy to go a bit extra.
Yeah. And it's all if the friend does ask you for the lift, probably less inclined. Like, you want it to come from you, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that's driving the friends home. If you're giving a lift into somewhere, things start to change a little bit.
Yep.
Because then I think it's on the passenger to give something back. Because often there's always going to be parking at the end of that.
Yep.
If there's a parking ticket involved that the driver has to pay for, you have to get in on that as the passenger.
Yeah.
You must.
Do you have to shout the whole lot?
Oh.
Probably depends if you're getting the lift home at the end as well. If it's just a one-way, if it's just a one-way in, I think maybe maybe you just split the parking, I reckon.
Yep.
But you pay when you return to the car. So how are you going to you're not
Oh,
going to
no.
you're
Very
not going to say to that person, "Hey, that parking ticket I paid for is $7. Can you transfer me $3.50?"
I know, because no one's brave enough to do that. And it always ends up being the driver who incurs the cost.
When you use the word brave, Josh just put his hand up very quickly. I'm just wondering if Josh is brave enough.
No, I was going to say what I will often do if it's into an event, I will definitely buy a drink, be it a beer or soft drink, whatever.
That's nice.
Let me get you a drink.
Yeah.
I'll get this first one. Thanks for driving me.
Have you ever had anyone that has sort of missed the boat with that stuff?
Well, I have, and it was a friend who, going back to the sort of how far out of the way are you willing to go, I think another thing that plays into it is the situation you're leaving that person in and at what time of night that is.
Yeah.
So
Ooh, yes.
I had a friend who gave me a lift home. It was probably, like 3 a.m. or something. It was quite late. And we were going along a road, and he's like, well, I would normally turn here to go back to my place, and you would be further ahead straight. And so it was probably going to be 5, 6, 7 minutes extra for him to drop me home. And he was like, oh, because I'm going down there, do you mind just jumping out here? Oh. And I was like, yeah, okay.
I mean, what can you say?
I had to do it. I was like, yeah, no worries. And so I just walked like 20 minutes walking.
No,
really
that is
cold, middle of
just-
the night to get home. And it was like, yeah, that was just what it was. I was like, I accepted it.
You know what that is? It's just selfishness. It's the person just thinking about themselves. It's all about them at that time. They're not thinking about you.
No.
It's just all about them.
I think because as well, I was like, and I do the calculation in my head as well when I'm giving people lifts. I always go, oh, look, don't worry about it. It's 5 minutes for me. It's 20 minutes for you. It's completely fine.
Yeah.
I'll finish that
so,
off.
Josh, have you developed a ratio or a metric, I think is your preferred?
I think it always winds up being 5 minutes for me, 20 minutes for you. That's kind of what it always evens out to.
So that means 10 minutes for me, 40 minutes for you?
Maybe. But what about this? What about when you're going for a weekend away? And so there's a few of you going to a thing and you may be a few hours in the car.
Right.
Surely that's a petrol split, right?
Yeah, it's a petrol split. It's got to be. But how do you work that out? Do you know like how much it costs to fill up a tank and then how many Ks you get out of the thing? Or is it just a flat fee thing? Do you incorporate some thanks in that?
I think if someone is driving you for a weekend away, it implies you'll probably get a lift back. And I think you cover the cost of the tank.
A whole tank?
Yeah.
No
That
way.
makes 0 sense.
Why does that make 0
Because
sense?
then what's the point in carpooling? It's
Yeah.
the same cost.
No.
I guess you don't get the depreciation of your car.
Yeah, they're making it convenient for you. You get to drive. You could do whatever you like. You'd probably drink.
What about if they like driving?
if they like driving?
There's some people out there that really like driving.
Sure.
That's you. That's your cover. You go, look, I'd chip in, but you really love driving your car, don't
So,
you?
Christian, sorry.
And do they love paying for petrol too? No, guys, really, I've got this.
Christian, sorry, just to clarify. So we're going to a music festival. 5 people in the car. I'm driving.
I think if you say music festival, that is huge for someone to elect themselves as a driver. You should be paying for their ticket to that festival.
Oh, because you're
that's
talking about the drive home, aren't you?
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
So you're essentially paying for their fuel and compensating them for their position that they've chosen.
yes.
I think that what it should be is you reset the trip counter, you work out what the trip is, and as the driver, you should know how much petrol 400 Ks is for your car.
Christian, let me guess. You'll find that too stingy.
No, if it's 400k trip, that's a full tank.
Not for my car.
Yeah,
for mine
right.
it is. Yep, okay. Well, that's why. If you go in a highly fuel-efficient car, then you should only be paying for half a tank.
Patchworkers, if you've got us on social media, can you please share with us what your fuel economy is like? We'd be really interested to know. We're doing a quick survey.
The other situation I thought of as well, and it plays into the on the way kind of thing, is what about a lift to work? And so you've got someone who lives nearby who it's on the way, and it makes complete sense to share that lift, but the person who's further away, of course they're going to be driving because it does make sense for the person who's on the way to go back and pick them up.
That stuff makes me so happy. We've got a few people at work that live a little bit out and they carpool together. I'm like, that's such
How do
generous...
they work it out? How do they work it out?
Oh,
Do
that's
they-
a good question. I'm
do
not
they-
sure.
Do they swap drivers? Do they? Because surely, if you're getting
Yeah.
a lift all the time,
Maybe they don't, and maybe there's tension. Who knows? I haven't detected any. I'll check on Monday.
I reckon what it should be is if there's parking, you probably cover the parking if you're the
Yes.
recipient.
Yep.
Or maybe it's like every now and again, hey, I'll get you coffee because you drive to work every day.
a coffee's not enough.
No, but it's a
Drive to
gesture.
work
It's
every
lovely.
day.
No, but the thing is, they're not using any more energy because it's on the way. So it's, yes, you're picking someone up, but you're doing that trip anyway. It just so happens that someone's there jumping in the car with you.
I don't know, Josh. I don't know.
It's the convenience. You're paying for the convenience.
Yeah.
But then don't get the lift then. If you're not willing to chip in, because as the person who's receiving it, you're always like, yeah, but you're going exactly that way. It makes complete sense for you to pick me up.
Yeah, but think about what you're gifting them, what they would have had to have gone through, maybe long public transport, long hours. The benefit of being in that car with you.
But also, you're not always going that way. You're not, when you're giving, Josh, you got this thing where you're giving a lift to someone, they're always on the way. They're not always on the way. No, always.
But it depends. But that's for the work colleagues to negotiate. How far out of the way is it?
Yeah.
And the moment that you commit to other people, then you're committing to their time schedule as well.
Yeah.
And their music taste or podcast that you can't listen to.
Shocking.
Yeah, it
shocking.
sucks. Want to do all
Just
that
put
stuff.
on just put on a podcast that's friendly for everyone to listen to.
Have you ever been?
It'll probably finish by the time you get to your destination.
Around 30 minutes.
I get it.
The other lift giving situation I wanted to bring up was a lift to the airport. And for me, a lift to the airport has a very, very clear one-to-one repayment, and it is a lift to the airport. If someone gives you a lift to the airport, you owe them a lift to the airport.
Josh, you love a lift to the airport.
It's something my family grew up with.
Yeah, there
Giving
you
each
go.
other lifts to the airport.
Yeah, it was always presumed. It's like someone will give you a lift to the airport. Don't worry about it.
When the three of us,
Really?
when the three of us were going to Sydney, I was like, I reckon we should park at one of those off-site airport parking things. It'll be cheaper. Josh insisted on the airport lift. It is pretty convenient.
And people are happy to give it.
Are they though?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
I love driving out to the airport. I have no idea why.
Really?
But there's something about driving out there that I enjoy.
Is it off the opportunity to offload family members?
Yeah, maybe it's the idea of like I'll be leaving here feeling lighter.
You're kicking them out the door. Get out. Get on the plane.
How long? 2 weeks? No worries.
But Christian, what do you think the repayment is for a lift to the airport?
I think Josh, you're 100% right. Money can't because a lift to the airport, that's out of the way.
Yeah.
That's always
Yeah.
if you're in Melbourne.
Yeah.
You have to understand that our airport is a 45-minute drive without traffic.
The only exception to that.
I love that. That's from the city centre. Sorry, someone might live next to the airport.
The only exception to that is if you work at Tullamarine McDonald's. I'm just going to work, guys. Come on.
I honestly think the people that work at the airport, all credit to you, I reckon that'd be really rough. Going to the airport, seeing all these people taking off, and you're just at your job all day.
It's such a weird, different place to work.
Yeah.
Like it's so different.
It's like working at a massive tourist location, though. People coming through and just being tourists around you. One lift, though, that must absolutely suck, and it's probably something the majority of us will go through later in our lives, and I'm sure some of our listeners do, is parent
Yeah, I was just
giving
thinking
a
that.
child a lift to school because there is no payment coming back and
there is
you are
no parking either.
and you are paying for that kid to go to school.
Yeah. Why are there so many parents giving kids lift to school?
It seems crazy.
Get them on public transport as soon as possible.
Protective parents.
Take the risk. Take the bloody risk. I think with my kid, assuming it's a safe route, get them on public transport. Don't want to do those school drop-offs. But I think my parents liked doing it. They liked me.
Maybe they do. They liked me.
Yeah. I guess it's that quality time with your kids. You're probably working full-time as a parent. It's that quality time with your kids where you're getting angry on the roads during peak hour.
You're actually probably not wrong. It's like an extra 20 minutes of just you and your kid having a chat.
Oh, but that thing, I mean, when we're recording Patchwork in 20 years'
What kind of
time...
upbringing did you both have? Having a chat with your parent in the morning?
I'm just making up things.
Yeah.
I've got no idea. I've got absolutely no idea.
Actually, I'd like to hear from our listeners that do have kids. I'd love to hear if you actually enjoy dropping your kids off. Hit us up. I think it'd be really, really interesting to find that out.
Now, Dion, you mentioned taking the risk, right?
Yes.
Putting your kids on public transport.
Yep.
I remember it took a really long time for my parents and my cousin's parents, we were in the same year level, to brave up and go, you know what? You can take public transport. That's fine. One of the first weeks that we were on public transport, a guy from another school sprayed my cousin with the Lynx deodorant can and tried to set him on fire.
Oh my God.
Don't take that risk.
That's it.
That's nuts.
What an introduction to the public.
But no primary school kids are getting public transport, are they?
No, that's what I mean. I don't know how old kids are when they can do stuff. I reckon when they're 8, 10, pop them on a tram.
I've got no. I remember year 7 was like high school was when I started public transport. Like my primary school was fairly close, so we used to walk a lot of the time.
Great,
so we
perfect.
could walk.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you used to walk to school?
Nah, I was such a sheltered kid. I got driven.
With an umbrella?
I was in a box. I was driven to school. I got Italian parents. Driven to
Yeah.
school probably until year 10, and then it was public transport.
Yeah, I got lifts pretty late as well.
Did you ever have the kids who drove to school?
Oh, I was
Oh,
never one of those
God.
kids.
In, like,
I got,
year 12?
I got my probationary license really, really late. So, like, it never happened. But did you do that?
I got mine late as well, but I remember there was like one kid who had a car, and it was like, it seems like a weird thing to want to do.
No, it's pretty cool. Like, I had a friend that was 18, got his probationary license, and he could drive to school. I think he picked me up on the way, probably went out of his way to pick me up.
And what did you do for him?
Sprayed him with Lynx deodorant.
I buy a chocolate milk.
Really, really good. You know what's really, really good? Really, really good. You know what's really, really good?
You know what's really good? When you have an accurate food substitute for your recipe already in your cupboard.
Yeah, really good.
Really good. Really good.
Really good. Do you know what's really good? Laminate floorboards that look like real wood panels.
Really good.
Really good.
You know what's really good? When the pizza you're sharing has evenly cut slices.
Yeah,
really good. Really good. And we love hearing your really good, so make sure you get in touch on our Facebook, our Instagram, our Twitter. Every second week, we have our Really Good Fridays where we give away some Hey Tiger chocolate to the best really good for the week. And a recent winner, you know what Adam Vincini thinks is really good? When the waiter at your restaurant tells you when you've ordered too much food.
Really good.
Really good. Really good. You know what?
Thank you very much for listening to Welcome to Patchwork for another week. We love when you hit us up on social media, and during the week, Raph Wong sent us a great clip from a musical he's working on. He submitted this as part of Really Good Friday. Christian? From a Sondheim musical, apparently. So thank you very much, Raph.
And a big thanks to all our patrons currently. You guys support the show and make this happen. So, yeah, we really appreciate the support from every single one of our patrons.
As we do every week, we sew a new patch into our quilt of friendship. Josh, what patch did you sew this week?
Thank you, Dion. My patch this week is Christian, giving me a lift around the corner and demanding I pay for a full tank of petrol. Christian, what patch did you sew this week?
Thank you, Josh. This week I sewed into my patch a dead moth asking Dion for a lift to work at the Natural History Museum. And Dion, what did you sew into your patch this week?
My patch this week is the dead butterfly in my car waking up and kindly offering to pay for the petrol for all the free lifts it received. Thank you very much for listening to Welcome to Patchwork this week. I've been Dion.
I've been Josh.
And I've been Christian.
Goodbye.
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 Thank you.
Gale and wind free. That's crazy.
Wind free.
That's crazy.